Tonight, you're about to step into a story that should never have been recorded. A night shift, an abandoned building, and a rule that was never meant to be broken. What started as a simple security job turned into something far more disturbing. Something that watches, something that learns, and something that doesn't let you leave. This is Night Shift, a true-style horror narrative from British Hauntings. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to British Hauntings for more dark, chilling stories every week. Like the video if you enjoy real-feeling horror, and comment below, would you take this job for one night? Don't forget to share this with someone who loves late-night horror. Now, turn off the lights, and listen carefully, because once your shift starts, it doesn't end. The building stood at the far edge of an industrial district, where streetlights flickered more out of habit than purpose. During the day, it looked abandoned, just another forgotten warehouse with cracked windows and rusted metal doors. But at night, a faint glow seeped through its broken panes, and that was when the shift began. Ethan Cole had taken the job because it paid more than anything else he could find. Overnight security. No experience required. No questions asked? That should have been the first warning. The instructions were simple. Clock in at 10 p.m. Stay until 6 a.m. Do not leave the premises. Do not enter the basement. The last rule was underlined twice. Ethan remembered staring at that line during orientation. The supervisor, a pale man with a tired voice, didn't elaborate, just handed him a flashlight and a set of keys. You won't need most of these, the man said. Just don't go where you shouldn't. That first night, the silence felt unnatural, not peaceful, empty, like the building was holding its breath. Every footstep echoed too long. Every corner seemed darker than it should have been. At exactly 11:47 p.m., the power flickered. Ethan checked the breaker panel. Everything was fine. Lights came back on immediately. Just a glitch. At least, that's what he told himself. Then came the sound. A faint dragging noise from somewhere below. He froze. The basement. He remembered the rule. Do not enter. But the noise continued, slow, deliberate, like something heavy being pulled across concrete. Ethan stood at the top of the basement door, hand hovering over the handle. His radio crackled to life suddenly, making him jump. Static. Then a voice. Don't. He leaned closer. Open. The radio cut out. Ethan stepped back immediately. That was enough for him. Rules existed for a reason. For the next few nights, things escalated. Objects moved. Doors that he locked were found open. And always, at 11:47 p.m., the lights flickered. The dragging sound became louder, closer. By the fifth night, Ethan noticed something new. Footprints. They appeared near the basement door. Wet, dark, leading up the stairs, but stopping just before the door, as if whatever made them couldn't leave, or was waiting. Ethan reported it. The supervisor didn't seem surprised. You're hearing it now, he said flatly. That means it knows you. Ethan laughed nervously. Knows me? What is it? The supervisor didn't answer. Instead, he handed Ethan a new flashlight. This one lasts longer, he said. You'll need it. That night felt different. He could feel it the moment he walked in. The air was heavier, colder. At 11:47 p.m., the lights didn't just flicker. They went out, completely. Ethan's flashlight clicked on, cutting a narrow beam through the darkness. The silence was gone. The dragging sound was right behind the basement door. Loud, aggressive. Then, a knock. 3 slow, heavy thuds. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Another knock. Then a voice. Soft, wet, wrong. Help me. It sounded human, almost. Every instinct told him to run. But something else, something deeper, pulled him closer. The voice changed. It became clearer, familiar. Ethan, please. His heart stopped. That was his name. He hadn't told anyone here his full name. The door handle began to turn, slowly, from the other side. Ethan stumbled back, dropping the flashlight for a moment. When he picked it up again, the beam caught something under the door. Fingers, pale, too long, scratching at the gap. Let me out. The voice wasn't pleading anymore. It was demanding. Ethan ran. He didn't stop until he reached the front exit. But when he pulled the door, it didn't open. The keys didn't work. The radio crackled again. The supervisor's voice came through. You broke the rule, Ethan shouted. I didn't open it. A pause. Then, you listened. The lights flickered back on. For a moment, everything looked normal, quiet, empty, until Ethan noticed the footprints again. This time, they didn't stop at the basement door. They led across the floor, toward him. Slowly, he turned around. At the far end of the hallway, something stood in the shadows, tall, bent, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, and its face looked exactly like his. The radio whispered one last time. Your shift isn't over. The lights went out again, and this time, they didn't come back. The darkness didn't feel empty anymore. It felt occupied. Ethan stood frozen, his breath shallow, the last echo of the supervisor's voice still ringing in his ears. The flashlight trembled in his grip. its beam flickering as if it too was struggling to stay alive. Somewhere in the hallway ahead, something moved. Not quickly, not suddenly, but with intention. A slow, dragging step followed by another. Ethan didn't need to see it clearly to understand. It was coming closer. The version of himself standing at the end of the corridor didn't rush. It didn't need to. The building had already sealed itself. Every exit was locked. Every path led back inside. This wasn't a chase. This was a process. The flashlight dimmed for a second, then steadied. When the light fully returned, the hallway was empty. Ethan's chest tightened. He spun around. Nothing. Silence again. But not the same silence as before. This one felt aware, watching, waiting. Then, a sound behind him, breathing, right at his ear. Ethan jerked forward, slamming into the wall as he swung the flashlight wildly. The beam cut across peeling paint, rusted pipes, broken glass, but nothing else. Still, the breath lingered. Cold, close, mimicking him. He forced himself to move. Standing still felt like surrender. He began walking quickly down the corridor, trying to reach the security office, his only point of control, or what used to be. The door was already open. That wasn't how he left it. Inside, the monitors flickered. Camera feeds showed different parts of the building, but they weren't right. They weren't live. They were repeating, looping. Ethan leaned closer. On one screen, he saw himself standing at the basement door from earlier that night. On another, he saw himself running toward the exit. And on a third, he saw himself standing exactly where he was now, watching the screen. A delay of only a few seconds. Ethan stepped back. The version of him on the monitor didn't. It kept staring. Then it smiled. The real Ethan felt his stomach drop. No, the screen glitched. For a split second, the image distorted, and something else appeared behind his reflection. Tall, bent, waiting. Ethan turned around instantly. Nothing there. When he looked back at the monitor, the screen went black. The radio crackled again. But this time, it wasn't the supervisor. It was him. His own voice. "You should have opened the door." Ethan grabbed the radio, his hands shaking. "What is this? What do you want?" A pause. Then, "We want to finish the shift." The lights above him flickered once more, weaker now, like a dying pulse. Then the building groaned. A deep, metallic sound echoed through the walls, as if something massive beneath the structure had shifted. The basement. Ethan knew it instantly. The door downstairs slammed open. He heard it from across the building. A loud, final crash, followed by silence. No more knocking. No more scratching. That was worse, because it meant it wasn't contained anymore. The monitors flickered back to life. Now every screen showed the same thing. The basement staircase. Dark, empty, but slowly, something began to emerge from below. A shape. Crawling, pulling itself upward one step at a time. Ethan couldn't look away. It moved like it was injured, or unfinished. Its limbs bent in the wrong directions. Its head dragged against the steps. But its face, as it lifted slightly into the dim light, Ethan saw it clearly. Not just his face, but many, layered, stacked, like multiple versions of him trying to exist in the same space. All of them whispering, all of them watching. The radio spoke again. Soft, calm. "This building doesn't hire people." Ethan's throat went dry. "It replaces them." The crawling thing reached the top of the stairs. Then it stood, too tall, too still. Its body cracked as it straightened, bones shifting, aligning, becoming something closer to human, closer to him. Ethan backed away slowly. "Stay back." The thing tilted its head, exactly the way he did when he was confused. Then it took a step forward, and another, each movement smoother than the last. Learning, adapting, perfecting. Ethan turned and ran. Not toward the exit, not toward safety, because deep down, he already understood. There was no leaving, only surviving, and even that felt temporary. As he disappeared into the darkness of the endless hallway, the building remained silent once more, watching, waiting, and somewhere behind him, footsteps followed, perfectly matching his own.